a potential motivator to pass a fourth stimulus check and recurring monthly payments sooner than later, and a close call with the CDC eviction moratorium. Let's talk through all of it. But hey everybody, welcome and thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't done so already, or if you happen to be new here, please make sure to hit the subscribe button right down below the video, as I am your one and only daily advocate or underdog advocate, whatever you decide to call me. I'm cool with either of it. Thank you so much for your support. I truly appreciate it, and I promise you I will continue to deliver and do whatever I possibly can to help you out each and every day. Let's talk through this. So yesterday, we had a close call with the eviction moratorium. Remember this one? This was put into place late last year by the CDC, basically saying, hey, people cannot be evicted right now if they're unable to pay their rent simply because it's going to put them at risk of homelessness or potentially contracting the virus. Well, that eviction moratorium has continued to be pushed on and continued to extend beyond the deadlines. However, there's a couple things coming up. First off, the official deadline on that, or the expiration, is June 30th. So that's coming sooner than we think. However, yesterday, a federal judge was out basically trying to repeal the eviction moratorium, saying it exceeded the authority of the CDC. Well, have no fear. The Department of Justice, or DOJ, stepped in and say, oh no you don't. You're not going to be repealing the eviction moratorium. So, as of right now, it sounds like the Department of Justice has overturned this judge's repeal on the eviction moratorium, so it sounds like we're good to go, but that could have been really, really scary for literally millions upon millions upon millions of people right now who would potentially be at risk of eviction because they haven't been able to pay because, everything going on. I mean, no surprise to anybody right now that there's literally millions of people who are behind on rent right now. Well, that's a potentially really scary situation. Not to mention, like I said a second ago, the actual expiration of the eviction moratorium is actually at the end of June. So once again, what's going to happen then? Are they going to extend it out once again to help these people out? Or is it just going to be like, well, we've extended a few times now, this is it. I don't really know, honestly, if we're still in the same situation we are right now as we are, at the end of June. Most likely they're probably going to extend it again because there are still a lot of people behind. Not only that, the whole rental assistance thing right now, what a mess. Seriously, I've been doing some research on this, and it sounds like it is an absolute disaster trying to get people the rental assistance that they need right now. It sounds like the majority of people who are applying are basically just getting denied. Not cool. There's what is the number? It's like 25, I forgot the number. It's like $30 billion or something like that. Maybe even more than that. There's a lot, like tens of billions of dollars allocated for rental assistance right now, and it sounds like only a very small percentage of people are actually getting it. Wow, it's kind of sad, seriously. Anyway, let's talk about the potential motivator to get a fourth stimulus check passed and monthly recurring payments probably sooner than later. This is actually kind of interesting. I haven't really heard many people talking about this as far as all the research that I do, all of the different sources that I look at. I haven't exactly seen anybody talking about this, but you better believe people in Congress are definitely keeping their eyes on this. But many people are not remembering there are midterm elections next year. Now, I get it. That's a long time from now. But let's just talk about the potential of maybe Democrats lose a couple seats to Republicans in the House. Maybe Democrats lose a seat or two in the Senate to Republicans. Guess what happens then? Well, the power shifts into the favor of Republicans. Well, I mean, not a total power shift because then the presidency would still be Democratic, but either way, then all of these initiatives and potential stimulus packages, the infrastructure packages, the American Families Plan, all of these big programs and proposals that they have on the table right now that they want to push through, well, guess what? No more on that. All of that would come to an end real fast, simply because Democrats would no longer have the authority to, or the ability, I should say, to use budget reconciliation anymore to jam these things through with just partisan support. So you better believe that people in Congress are definitely watching this and saying, hey, we know it's far away, but guess what? We need to get everything done now that we could ever potentially want to get done in the event we potentially lose some seats in either the House or the Senate, shifting power over to Republicans in either of those chambers. You know what I mean? So Also, I want to make it very clear, I'm not taking sides with any of this. I'm simply just giving you the information as we see it. So I try to stay right down the middle as I possibly can, but that's kind of one of the things that they have to be watching right now, because all these different proposals that Democrats have on the table right now, the infrastructure package, $2.3 trillion, the American Families Plan, $1.8 trillion, recurring stimulus checks, the expansion of the child tax credit, the monthly stimulus checks. I mean, there's so many different things right now. They want to reform Social Security, all this stuff right now. But either way, also, one other thing we need to think about, the further out that we get from this whole situation that we're in, I mean, realistically, if we fast forward from a year from now, what's the world in this country going to look like? Seriously, I mean, what's the landscape going to look like? Is this whole thing that we're dealing with right now just going to be like a distant memory? I mean, it's not going to be distant, right? I mean, this is probably something that we're never, ever going to forget. I mean, I feel like we'll never forget. It's been a really weird, life-changing situation. But what I'm saying is life going to be mostly back to normal in about a year from now? Well, at that point, if it is, it's going to be a really hard sell to come in and say, hey, let's get fourth stimulus checks passed and some recurring stimulus payments. And everyone will be like, for what? Everyone's doing fine. So right now is really, time is of the essence at this point, in my opinion. Like, hey, if you guys are going to do it, let's get it done. You know what I mean? Like, let's get it done now while there's still... people are still struggling. People need the money now, because in a year from now, I mean, people are still going to be struggling, but people need the money now. We can't wait another 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, or anything like that for all of this money to be distributed. People need the assistance now, whether it's the rental assistance, utility assistance, the expansion of the food assistance, which we talked about the other day, and just straight up stimulus checks, like another stimulus check, $2,000 of the fourth stimulus check, or maybe even recurring monthly payments if they happen to do something like that. Either way, as I've been saying for so long now, based on all the research that I've done and everything that I'm seeing, I honestly really do think that there will be another fourth stimulus check. Do I think there's going to be recurring payments? Honestly, I still think that's up in the air. I'm not going to put a prediction on that because I just honestly don't have a clue on the recurring. They've been talking about that for a while now. Whether they actually do it or not, we'll have to see. But I think at a minimum, there's at least a fourth stimulus check on the table. That's just my honest opinion based on everything that we're seeing. But I do think, like I said, that time is of the essence right now, and they really just need to get this thing hammered through and just get past, or at least some kind of relief to people, however that happens to come about. I mean, realistically, the best thing that they could do is just pass a standalone bill for stimulus checks, get it done, get the money out to the people, stop wasting time, just get the money to the people who need it right away, and then just, move on with the rest of the package and talk about that in whatever amount of time that they need. So that's what we're kind of watching. That is a potential motivator to get them to do everything that they potentially want now before the midterms next year. All right, one quick thing. I have an update on the third stimulus check for those of you who have not received it yet. Let me give you a quick update as we got another announcement out of the IRS. Now, I know that this doesn't pertain to that many people, but let me give it to you because I told you I'd keep you updated as we get it. So they distributed another 1.1 million stimulus checks this week. Now, this is in reference to the $1,400 stimulus check. So 585,000 of those payments went out to people who recently filed a 2020 tax return. They also said right in their statement that if you're somebody who receives federal benefits like Social Security, SSDI, SSI, survivors, VA, RRB, they're basically saying, hey, I know that you don't file a tax return typically, but if you don't, you might want to file one this year so that you can get your stimulus check. So that's what they're saying, and they've actually made this statement before that you might want to file a tax return. Of course, I don't know your exact situation. I'm not your accountant. I'm not your CPA, so I can't give you tax advice, but this is just what they're saying. They're saying you probably want to file if you haven't received it yet. So with that being said, another 570,000 people received payments, and these are plus up payments from those individuals who didn't possibly receive enough last year, and they're just kind of topping everybody off. So another 1.1 million went out this week. But again, the payments are fizzling out. Seriously, I mean, they're not running out of money, but they're basically coming down to the kind of the end of this. Each and every week, it's less and less payments going out to each and every, to the people. I mean, realistically, most people are receiving their payments. So if you haven't received it yet, Man, I hope you're included in this last wave here. I mean, if you're not, it's just like we need to do something. So you might want to consider filing if you haven't done so already. Check out that statement on the IRS website, irs.gov. You can look right there in the latest press releases or news. It'll have it right there. And just read for yourself exactly what they said. But I'm just doing what I can to help you out through here, but you might want to consider filing. Again, read that statement out of the IRS to get further information. Otherwise, you can always file for free right on the IRS website through the IRS free file, provided you earn under $72,000 a year, which most people do. So either way, hope that helps you out. Enjoy your day, everybody. You're awesome. I appreciate you. Have a nice afternoon, and I'll catch you again later. I'll see you soon. Thanks.